Good day to y'all and everyone out there. This is Lady Charlotte, or Pots by Char, whichever designation you wish to call me. I'm Lady Charlotte out at the fair, and I'm just kind of hung on to that for a while. I started out as Pots by Char, and that is still my legal name, and that's on my sales permit and everything. So these pieces have gotten a little bit drier than what I would prefer. So I have wrapped a bunch of them up with some, squirt the water and wrapped them up, and hopefully that'll be good. This one I'm just going on with, even though it's somewhat on the dry side. So, back to what we were doing and why we're doing it. This video is one thing. It's to test out my iPad's capability on the videos, because using my phone, there are always these phone calls coming in, and whenever they do, even though I can't answer the phone in here, don't have service, but there's just enough that the call will come through to the point that it stops the filming, and that was getting very, very annoying. So I have a new cover for my tablet, and decided I was going to bring it out here and see if it would work. It should. I mean, Apple made both of them, so they should work. Now you see what I'm doing here. I'm setting the top of my flute here right at the edge of the chattering line. That's where I'm starting my flute. And then I give it more pressure in the middle and let up on the pressure as I get to the outside rim, and that way you still have a nice lip for your roll. Now, here we're going to go with another one. The use of fluting goes back before the Egyptian dynasties. There have been pieces found in China that go back before the Egyptian dynasty. Sometimes I have to stop and make my mark before I can open my mouth. Sometimes, and quite often, I must say, I get so wrapped up in what I'm doing as I'm going around and doing it that I forget that you guys are here, along for the ride, so to speak, and I just, keep on going and stop talking, and then pretty soon I kind of realize, hey, you're filming this, you need to, at least be saying something once in a while. So, here's me saying something once in a while. But, yeah, I have done a piece on chattering before, the history of chattering, and just like fluting, it goes way back too. But the way that they chatter is different from the way that we do it because they don't have the speed. They have a wheel like this that they're turning like this, you know, on a rock or something, and it's something that they're just, you know, using by hand. They don't have the speed that we do with the kick wheels or the however, they do have a process that involves a kind of a kick wheel because it is kicked. They have a table kind of like thing that fits down into it has a flat surface, and it has a part of it that can fit into something else, and that part fits down into the part of the rock that's been dug out so that this thing will fit in it. And it makes a semblance of a kick wheel of sorts. Hand wheel, actually, because that's the way they were turning it. But so they did have a means of chattering back then. It was not as effective as our wheels because our wheels will go a whole lot faster, and the faster you go, the better the chattering. So, you know, it could very well. Now, I'm needing to hold this in place. What I need to do is put this on there because it's sliding all over the place. And see, this will keep it from going off into... This is just that little shelf covering that you put down in your kitchen shelves and stuff. Got it at Walmart, but it works really well because see here, it's not going all over the place like it was. I mean, it's still going to move, but not as badly as it did. Now, I dropped the tool, so I need to find it before it disappears down Charlie's well. So, let's get back over here. Finish up this bowl. I'm hoping to be doing a workshop in the not too distant future, and that workshop will be about chattering and fluting and various surface decoration techniques. I think the surface of a piece is so important. It's in my opinion, the surface decoration, whether it be chattering and fluting or mishima or sgraffito or any of those things, I think that informs the audience from across the room. They can see the surface decoration before they ever get there and pick up the piece. And I think that's very important. And you make a connection with your viewer before the viewer even gets to the point where it could pick you up. So that is one of my things that is very, very important to me, is the surface decoration. Now, like I said, it can be all different kinds of surface decoration, but it still informs the reader or the viewer how this piece is going to turn out. You can tell by the first couple of strokes. Now this piece, right now, it's just a little tad beyond the surface that I prefer. It's got a little bit too dry, but it's working. It's working just fine. And that's all we care about. As long as we get our little flutes in there and see, now with this gripper on there, I can put a little more pressure on this and not have to worry about it going off over the side. And that one, boys and girls, is done. Well, we still have to clean it up, wipe up the, go through, and what I do is I just flick through here like this. And that's, picking up the little extra pieces, softening the edges of the flute. We don't want a sharp edge up here. Same thing with the chattering. I go through and flip a wet sponge across it too, because you don't want somebody to pick up a piece like this and they're going to pick it up and hold it where the chattering is, because the chattering's everywhere. But it's just second nature. Just second nature. So I'm going through and I'm making sure that none of the things that I have done to it, the chattering, the fluting, will in any way, shape, or form be uncomfortable for anybody. I don't want them to nick their finger. I don't want them to, be overwhelmed. What I'm doing here is I'm just wiping it out again. I was wiping the inside and had to put it down in my lap, which was more difficult. So I'm wiping out all the little places where, right in here I've evidently stuck my finger into something and made a spot there that made a little divot, so we had to clean that up. We've got our inside of our piece is now clean and coming up straight. And this piece, it's got my name on the bottom of it. This piece is now done. It is done, over with, waiting to get dry. We're going to sit him over here on the waiting to get dry list. And that one is finished. Now let's see, what do we have next? We have this one. We have these two over here. Let's take this one because it's right here. Now, you see what happened there? I got all kinds of little things from that bag. So I'm going to have to wipe them out now before they stick to my interior and become a problem. You can see right here, I'll show you here in a minute. I'm wiping this out, but I'm going to show you something. The chattering on this last row of chattering got really, really deep. I mean, and if you look in here, you can see that little interior chattering that it didn't come all the way through, but it would have in a few more. If I'd have taken another round, it probably would have popped right through to the beginning. So, okay, we're going to wipe this off, get all the little doodads off, and I'm going to put this one over and place it here. Now, I'm trying to decide, and I think I've decided to go this direction. This way, no, that's not going to work. Okay, we're still going this direction. We are, however, stopping at this line. This is the line that was made on the wheel. Well, something fell. I don't know what. That part I will edit out. Okay. Here we are again. And I can, every once in a while I can look up here in this chattering that was really deep, and I can see where there's little specks that got stuck in there. If you notice, this bowl has a lip that's coming out to the side, so we have to maintain that lip. So that's the reason we're going down to this line of demarcation here. You see how that went? And now I'm going to go through there, and I'm going to take this wet sponge, and I am going to make all the little lines there go away. Okay? And then we're going to go on. And I am using the diamondcore tool. I really like this tool. It makes this job so much easier. I have tried different positions with it. And you know, I think it's just me. If I'm out here at the end of the tool, the way I'm holding it, I get a much better flute. But I haven't always had the luxury of being able to use a diamondcore tool. So I've had to learn how to gouge out clay with something like this. Got any idea what this might be? Huh? There we go. This is my tool that I always used to do my fluting with prior to this. And I'm going to show you that it gives you a very, very very nice line. And this is an old paintbrush handle, and I took a bobby pin. This is a bobby pin. This is a hairpin. And I took one at each end, and I glued them on there with some kind of Gorilla Glue or E6000. And even though they were glued in place and they weren't going anywhere, using the paintbrush handle to do the chattering, the fluting, I'm sorry, it was a little rough on the hands. So I had some leather strings, and like for shoelaces or something, and so I just wrapped the pencil in this rawhide, and it did make it more comfortable. It made it a fatter piece, and it made it more comfortable to hold. So, but that was for years and years. That was the tool that I used. And the thing being, when I used it, I would have to put my fingers right up here, because this would see how that bent? Yeah, it would bend really easy. So I had to put my fingers up here when I used it. And usually I would flip it over, because it does bend. I would flip it over and do the other side each time, and flip it over and do the other side each time, and that would make it, where the little hairpin would kind of halfway stay. But this is so much better. But I need to get used to not throttling it up too close to the air. This works much better if I let it do its thing. See, it has a springing action that actually, lifts lifts it up when it comes out. But if you're too close to the end of it, to the head of it where you're carving, you lose all that. So, but like I said, I've spent many years doing it with a hairpin and a bobby pin. So, it'll take me a while to get to the point where I can just, go to the end of the stylus here and work. And I think when it's bending and springing like that, I'm afraid I'm going to break it, I guess. But it gives such a much nicer, cleaner cut when I let it do what it's supposed to do, instead of trying to be the one totally in charge here. And now when I get through all the way around here, I'll take the wet sponge and I'll go around and I'll even out this one new here, and even out the markings. So, There went one of those. I will edit that out. So we're just about to the end of this one. Trying to see if there's any room in there. There might be. I started wanting to do something other than just putting my stamp at on the pieces that I'm making, and that okay, we now have this one done all around the edges. I'm going to take this damp sponge, and I'm going to go around here, and I'm just going to make sure that that edge is clean. You know, like right here, I don't know if you can tell, that may have been like the first one I did, and I was checking it out, and no, I didn't want to go all the way out to the edge of the lip. We want that to end here at this line. So now I'm just smoothing out the areas where it went over the line and into the lip area. So I'm taking a wet sponge, damp sponge, and carrying it out all the way around and getting all those little burrs and irregularities and what have you, getting all that taken out. And sometimes I have to move it to get in a position where I can get all that taken out, huh? Yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't work right to put it down on a bending wheel, and sometimes you just have to hold it up against your tummy to get it to work right. But so we are taking these around and smoothing them out. And then we'll do the other side of the lip, because that's the side that okay. I think we about got this little guy done here. Did have to go back and do quite a bit of these things though on the lip. A couple of places where we just went through, I guess. Okay. Now, take this around. Like I said, I can't hardly do this without... I'm used to holding these things up to my belly. Holds it tight. So. Okay, we still have a little bit of some indentations over here. We could probably use a couple of squirts of water. Might just do the trick. And a well rubbed finger going back and forth. across there. With the addition of the water, we were able to smooth that completely out. Now we're going to take this one and go in here and go in the inside trim. And it doesn't have too much of anything to worry about, so I'm going to not worry about it. Let me see if I can bring this down. Okay, we had this little area that they didn't come down far enough. When you go to do stuff like this, it's always a good idea to keep you a nice sponge, damp sponge handy, so that you can kind of smooth out any areas that get roughened up or that get cut in the wrong place. Okay, we have this part done. Now, I'm not sure about this. I'm going to hold it up in such a way that I'm going to try and get this banding wheel out of the way. See, this is what I've got here in the footwell right now, and that is just my stamp for my name. Anyways, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little design in the bottom of the pot. And what I do is I draw 4 lines, and then I go in between those 4 lines, and I draw 4 more lines. So basically what shape I've got here now is going to be octagonal, 8-sided if I was making sides, which I'm not. Do you see what I've talked about? Making it eight-sided. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to the right side of that. Actually, to the left side of each line. To the left side of each line, I'm going to draw a half moon. And that will give you a half of a flower petal. Just taking this and brushing out the little bits and pieces that came up when I did this. Okay, now, on the other side, because we want these to look like they're in between. So, figuring out how I'm doing this. Some days I know and some days I don't. What was that song? Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Anyways, we put a little design in the bottom of it so that when the person who's doing the dishes picks it up and says, "Oh, what a pretty little design." Makes them feel extra special. And now I'm going to clean up the inside of it just a little bit. And then it's going to go over here to the place where things go to dry up and get ready to be bisqued. Okay, well, I think that's it for today. I will continue on and do my thing, and I hope you enjoyed the visit with me and learning a little bit about fluting. And I will see you on the flip side.